Hi, I'm Keith Ulrich, the CEO of Learning.com. We're a national leader in providing online courses, online learning programs to districts for the purpose of teaching technology skills to K through 8 kids. The company's about 20 years old. I've joined the company about 5 years ago, and not long after joining, I was at a superintendent summit with about 70 superintendents. I would introduce the company. We teach kids technology skills, and superintendents would look at me like I had green hair. Why do we have to teach kids technology skills? They know more about technology than I do. And we heard a lot of that 5 years ago. And today, there's been a dramatic shift in the attitude of educators and administrators, recognizing that while kids can swipe and they can post a picture on Instagram, they don't actually have the technology skills, they're not gaining the technology skills they need to be successful in online assessments, later in college, later in the workforce. So I want to talk for just a couple minutes about what's caused that change, and it's really about this theme. The world of work has changed. We have an image in our minds of how the country was built, right? Farmers and factories, and that little fishing boat in the lower left corner, that's actually the fishing boat I worked on in the summers, starting when I was 12 years old in Kodiak, Alaska. We have this picture of working with our hands, right? Really grimy. And this kind of working with your hands. And today, all of this has changed. All of these settings are all technology driven. And in fact, the idea of working with our hands has changed too. Today, this is what working with our hands looks like. And the expectation is that by 2020, just a couple of years from now, 80% of the jobs in the country will require some form of technology skills. So as a society, it's an important transition we're making. How are we doing at making this transition here in the US? A couple years ago now, the PISA organization that does testing of academic subjects across different countries, for the first time tested technology skills across 19 different nations, 19 developed nations, testing the level of technology skills across these countries. And the US scored dead last. Right? We think of ourselves, everybody at this conference knows that there's a ton of innovation and technology that happens here in this country, but on this scale, dead last, 19th out of 19. And right about the same time that report came out, there was a white paper that was written by an organization that estimated the cost to the US economy of low worker productivity due to low technology skills. Low technology skills, low productivity, costs our economy $1.3 trillion a year. So how are we doing? Not so well. And then, we hear for a while, we used to hear, okay, so it's a workforce challenge. There's a workforce challenge, we got to address that. But surely our kids today who are born with a smartphone in their hands must have the technology skills they need. At Learning.com, for the last several years, we've actually had an assessment. We have a digital literacy assessment that assesses kids against the skills they need against the ISTE standards. And this is a subset of about 30,000 students. It's 5 years of data. The green bars, 5th graders, 8th graders, the green bars are the kids who tested as proficient. Only 25% of these kids over this 5-year period tested as proficient against the technology standards according to ISTE. So there's a problem not only in the workforce, but in our students today as well. So how is the education system here adjusting to address the issue? We think of really 3 kind of trends. There's all kinds of trends that people will talk about in the education space. We think about these 3 trends. First of all, this growing recognition from administrators and educators on the need to provide instruction in digital literacy, computer science, CTE. The most tweeted term on one of the days of the ISTE conference last year was digital literacy. And last year, 49 states, I don't know who it is that didn't, 49 states passed some form of legislation last year supporting either digital literacy, computer science, or CTE programs. So lots of momentum growing around the country for that. Computer Science for All is a program everybody recognizes. Districts have been teaching computer science for decades, but it's always been at the high school level and as an elective for the geeks. Right? Now what's different is lots and lots of districts around the country, just over the last couple of years, have said, we're going to teach computer science to every kid in every school at every grade level. So lots of change being driven around that. And then all over the country, districts are making the shift to digital. A lot of that is the shift to digital instructional materials, and also, importantly, the shift to online assessments. which has happened over the last couple of years. And Learning.com sits right in the middle of all of those trends. We've been around for almost 20 years. We've built a significant market presence. We're in all 50 states. We're in roughly 1 out of every 6 districts in the country with paying customers. We're in over 11,000 schools. And we're really about helping districts to help their kids improve their test scores on the online assessments, making sure that teachers are addressing all of the standards that now, the standards that have come out over the last couple of years, all have specific technology skills that need to be demonstrated at certain grade levels within the core subject area standards, right? Within math, science, language arts, et cetera. And then building a foundation for districts to help get kids ready for instruction in computer science and coding, right? If you look at the computer science standards that are being adapted over all around the country, the youngest grades, it's all computer fundamentals to get kids ready for coding. We are the only provider in the country that combines all of these programs into an integrated solution, what we call the 4 pillars of digital literacy: keyboarding, online safety, coding, and business applications like spreadsheets and word processing and presentation software. We're the only provider in the country that does that. And we're a 20-year-old company. We spent a lot of time over the last couple of years modernizing the sales and marketing effort, where now it's a very efficient digital lead generation, efficient sales model, and actually have built a pretty cool distribution channel into the K-12 space. And as people in the room will know, that's hard to do. It's hard to sell to districts, and we've actually gotten to be pretty good at it. And then barriers to entry. We've been doing this longer than anyone else. We've got lots of input from thousands of districts in helping us build these programs. We've invested lots and lots of money in building out our offerings. And then in addition, we're seen as a thought leader. We actually do a lot of work at the state level. We have some state-funded programs in various places. We do a lot of work at the state level, and state legislatures come in and talk to us see us as thought leaders and ask us to help them with crafting legislation and crafting policy around these areas. And because we've been doing it for so long, we've got a proven track record demonstrating that kids do better at gaining digital literacy skills and do better on online assessments when they're in Learning.com's programs. Right on time. Thanks very much.